Hey everyone, and welcome back to Pandemonium_news. We are back once again to discuss a different topic, as this time around we're going to be talking about the best new coming teams of 2024. With Jason is here back again. He's still got the mustache.
Just head over to PUBGMobile.live/best newcomer team of 2020 or of 2024.
That's the best link.
I kind of butchered it there. Yeah. Still have the mustache. It's a little bit trimmed up. You know, looking snazzy. The hair's still really long. But man, this I think has been probably one of the most exciting like topics we've been discussing all year long. Actually, is about like who are the best newcomers of this year, because the whole year was about of uncertainty. It was a year of uncertainty. We didn't know what teams would necessarily win in these events. Obviously, seeing Alpha 7 win PMWC was kind of expected. But to see like so many new teams that were never on our radar as being one of the best teams in the region, let alone the world, I think was very, very cool to see. So for me, off the bat, one team I have to mention when they unfortunately didn't make it. Well, they qualified, but didn't make it to PMGC. Twisted Mind Brazil, man. Like this team coming out of nowhere, really with not a lot of background experience. They come onto the scene at PMGO as Death Wolves and completely surprised everyone out there, going through the qualification process to get into the main event. Did extremely well. You know, flash forward into PMWC, where they again in their first, I'd say, real international event, because there's a lot more teams from around the world participating at PMWC compared to PMGO. Again, having a very good performance, showing that they are a team that can like rise up to the occasion and not really struggling with adaptations. And then for them to qualify into PMGC, just unfortunately not being able to play due to a rule. I think for me, like this team was like the rookie team of the year. I still want to give it to them, even if they didn't play in PMGC, because this is a very strong team and shows the depth that Brazil has to offer of competition.
I would say you could still call them the rookie team of the year, because if you look at what we expected from them, or where they started skill-wise and where they ended up in some global events like PMWC or even locally, because of course they should have qualified for PMGC, right? I would say definitely this is one of the biggest step-ups from a team and even individual players, right, so far. And actually, if you watched the video so far, please do type in the comments Ratto Boy with as many O's as possible. And it'll make us
Boy.
exactly like Kalara says. And we'll know that you watched this video until this very point. So thank you guys.
It's the very beginning of the video, Max.
Okay, well, we'll see. Maybe they skip.
Good job. You guys watched the very beginning of the video.
But we're talking about underdogs, and I think a lot of people are looking at PMGC to be kind of the highlight of, oh, so many underdog teams did well. But actually, it started way earlier, right, Jason, in PMGO. Reject. Let's not forget, though, before PMGO, the best the Japanese team ever did was 9th place in a mid-seasonal tournament like 3 years ago, like 4 years ago, like a long, long time ago. And then they just come in swinging. PMGO, not only they get the first place snatched away from Alpha 7 for the very first time for
in their home country
team. In their home country, it's even worse. But also then Radio Seoul claims the MVP title. First MVP title globally for a Japanese player. I mean, Reject were just coming out like, no, actually, Japan is going to be on the map this year when it comes to PUBG Mobile eSport. And they followed through going into PMWC too. Well, not in PMGC, unfortunately, but the first half, it was all about Reject.
I'll say this, though, about Reject. I think a lot of us out there said PMGO was a fluke that they won. And you were a believer. You were one of the believers. You were like, no, I don't think it was a fluke. I think they just played like mechanically really well. They played really well as a team. Their calls were great. I still call them a fluke looking at them at PMWC, and they finished second. And then at that point, you're like, can you really call this a fluke anymore, considering the caliber of teams we have playing?
They were just praying, please give us invitation to PMGC or we're not going to make it. And they didn't. It's so weird. Like, you dominate so well globally, and locally you don't do anything. I think that's the biggest surprise to me, is that they just don't do well in Japan. So I don't know what to expect of them next year. Like, if they qualify to a global event, like, cool, they could win it, but they also could just not qualify at all. So it's all or nothing.
Let me bring this up to you then, Max. Does this kind of get you? So I'll start here. They were also only the real team who ever played international events in the past. Like a lot of these players, right? We don't often see players outside of like this team play internationally. And then B, does this maybe get you hyped up for what other teams in Japan could potentially step up in 2025? The fact that they could beat Reject in their own region?
It does get me very, very excited, just like we saw Mir and Sejong for South Korea, right? Also another region that we don't see too many new players or teams really come out of that region, globally speaking. So yeah, I'm hyped to see how that's going to work out. But again, what's going on over in Japan? Unfortunately, I don't know. It's very weird.
I mean, maybe we need a PMGO or a PMGC there one year. And I mean, the fact is...
PMSL Japan.
Oh, That would be cool. That'd be very cool. We could do a watch party of that. But I think, as you did mention Japan, you did mention South Korea as well. These are probably two regions that were never really on the map for us when it came to like powerhouse regions or regions that could take titles. And I think this year with Reject at PMGO and PMWC doing really well, and with South Korea doing really well at PMGC, it's kind of like, okay, no, maybe we should shut up. Maybe actually any region could be winning these titles, except maybe PEL.
Yeah, and PL, unfortunately, the era of PL is long gone. But yeah, any region could win it. And I mean, even DRX had some really strong moments back in PMWC and had opportunities in PMGC. Unfortunately, we're not quite able to capitalize on those strong opportunities to get those big wins that we would have liked to see from that team. But D plus, man, again, consistency on Miramar. They were starting to do well on Erangel, and that was just the nail in the coffin for them to win the whole thing. But I do want to highlight a special point about D plus, which is Noble. Of course, as you know, he was the MVP. And not only the MVP of the Grand Finals, he's also the Solo Master Tournament winner. And actually, it's very interesting because when we were looking at...
Nomi won the Solo Master
Tournament.
Tournament.
Oh, sorry. Noble was playing so well, Jason. For me, he's the champion. I think I even said it on air at some point.
He did smash every opponent he had, to be fair. Except Nomi.
Not even close, man. He was crazy. But Noble's movement in that, I think it's harder to see in the BR mode how good his movement is. But, man, that guy was untouchable. He was so crazy good, and I think it really highlights way. He's actually way better than it looks like when you're spectating, like in a normal spectating client of the game. So, yeah, Noble, the way he was playing there, I'm hyped for next year because I'd love to see him get another global MVP title. I think he has the chops to do it once more.
Well, talking about teams who have the chops, I mean, if we're looking at SEA as a region, did anyone out there expect Void Doinkers, I wanted to call them, Void Donkeys, to do as well as they did? I mean, I don't think they themselves expected it to perform so well, considering they had a majority of their players never playing at this kind of level before, never playing on this kind of stage before. And when you have teams like Bigatron, Alter Ego, I cannot remember the other team. Boom. There it is.
Boom, yeah.
I don't think we expected Void to be the team to make it to the Grand Finals, the only SEA team to make it to the Grand Finals. And yet, like under the leadership of Defi, they played really well and they got a top 5 finish. And it gets me excited to see what they could do come into SEA this next year because they have 3 PMSL seasons, not 2.
Yeah, it's actually also interesting when you're looking at Void because when talking to Defi, we had a lot of conversations with Defi. They didn't really change their playstyle throughout the league stage or the Grand Finals. It was the same playstyle, the same IGLing calls that were happening the entire tournament. The only thing that they were really trying to tame was their morale, like the mental game. And that was something that was really hurting them early on. But the moment they were like in the flow of things, especially towards the end of survival stage, last chance, they really hit their stride. And they started rotating quicker than anyone else. They started actually taking fights earlier because they were just not scared of the lobby anymore. Like that change of mindset, I think is one of the only times where I see a change of mindset and it's actually visible in the game. They just look confident. And sure, they don't win the thing, but they get 5th place for a team that I would say going at the start of this tournament, Jason. I had zero expectations. Sorry, Defi, but zero expectations for them to win the whole thing. And then they get top 5. That is for me one of the biggest improvements we have seen in a single global tournament for me ever. Like it was really crazy stuff.
Hey, as long as under the leadership of Defi, they didn't swim from mainland to military on Erangel and die to the blue zone twice.
Not Alter Ego. It is not.
As long as they didn't do that twice, they're already doing better than Defi's previous team. Let's throw a couple of other names out there. We're already running a little bit long here. Obviously, we did talk about Reject and Cilio. We got to see them as AOR when it came to CSA. And I will say this though, Max. What? Oh, and Cilio.
Which team is that?
The team that used the hovercraft.
Oh, those guys. Yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
We didn't see them use the hovercraft, I feel like, as much in CSA as we did see in PMGC. Actually, was it even out in CSA? I don't remember if it was. I don't remember seeing a single time now that I think about it.
I don't think it was. I think it was added for PMGC only. Because I don't recall any strong play with it in CSA.
Yeah.
And if it was there, people were just not using it anywhere as much as in Cilio we're using in PMGC. Again, I called it out. I think it's going to be meta-defining for next year. I think this is going to be the new DBS meta shift that we had 2 years ago from D plus Kia, but this time it's the hovercraft from Incilio. And I actually were talking to a few of different players, and some started saying, yeah, we're just spending a little bit more time just hugging the coast, looking for a hovercraft, because if we can get it, and who knows, it's a field finish or something, boom, you have a house now. So yeah, it is super meta now. It's crazy good.
You're calling it a house? It was more of like a bomb shelter for Westron, thinking about the amount of times he hopped into it, nades were blown up around him near Everest, if you remember that match. But I mean, still, you have to give credit to Encilio because I don't think we expect them to perform as well, but for them to kind of see the strength of the hovercraft before any other team out there deserves them a spot here in our list. Also, the Vicious coming in from Latin America, they weren't even supposed to be here. They were here because Twisted Mind Brazil couldn't play due to having 2 teams. So for them to come in, not realizing or not even realize at the end of the event that they had qualified and to put on this kind of performance and prove that Latin America has the chance to really succeed. And also first time they're playing an event like this in this kind of international stage, first time playing a PMGC. For them to have the results they did, just making the grand finals alone, I think is a testament to how strong they are as a team. And I hope they stick around for next year.
It really goes to show you can't ignore any team. Even the teams that technically should not have qualified are still going to be a threat. And you know that in the back, over in his home country, Rattle Boy is just shedding a tear like he's proud. You know, he's happy. Thank you, Vicious, for doing a good job in their stead. But yeah, I'm impressed.
Oh, I was about to hit
Vicious...
the Yu-Gi-Oh meme, actually, just a second, but
should have been me,
I held back.
That's a crypto meme, okay? We got it. It's the crypto meme now. That's what we call it. But Vicious were really a threat at one point when they just stopped caring. And if they can just funnel all that fragging potential when they don't care, and actually do good rotates with alongside that, I think they could be maybe gunning for a PMSL trophy in Americas next year. I know that's a big ask because again, Americas with the Brazilian team was super stacked, but literally the fragging power from Vicious is top 3 worthy, alone. So if they get the rotates on board, I think winning it could be an eventuality. I was good French there. Could be a possibility down the line. That was weird.
I just hope that, a lot of these teams we are talking about, because we are obviously done with the season of the year and we are already seeing a lot of roster changes happen. I'm hoping that the teams we are talking about, they stick together as a team and more importantly, they can kind of replicate this performance next year. I don't want to see, the Vicious or Reject or Twisted Minds Brazil or any of these South Korean teams just all of a sudden tank and nowhere be in relevance next year. But if they do maintain this, I feel like next year is going to be very interesting. And I don't know what we're going to call it. Is it going to be the Year of Uncertainty Part 2 Electric Boogaloo, or is it going to be something else?
It's going to be Chapter 2. It's going to be crazy. But again, for next year, it's going to be a rough one, I think, for all the teams. We are seeing a lot of roster changes already start right now. So who knows what's going to happen. But before we wrap up this video, Jason, I want to ask for you then, which is the top dog underdog team of this year? You have to pick one.
I think both of us are going to have answers, and I think a lot of the viewers out there will have answers that are more biased towards PMGC teams because of the recent results. But I still have to give it to Twisted Mind Brazil. For them to smash PMSL America's fall season, for them to come out of nowhere this year and do extremely well in back-to-back global events and also show really no signs of stopping. If anything, they've shown they continually improved all year long, getting better and better results. For me, it has to be them.
I think that's a good pick. I was going to say Reject, but they ended so badly with not qualifying to PMGC at all.
Did you change your mind just because I said that they continue to Twisted Mind Brazil continue to improve the whole
year? I felt
year?
Self-conscious. Yeah, I was like, oh, no, maybe not. I want to go Void Donkey. Sure, I'm going to be focusing mostly on PMGC here, but again, for me, in one single global tournament, this is the biggest improvement we haven't witnessed from a team pretty much ever, in my opinion. And I've been covering PMGC since season 0, so it's been a hot minute.
Weird flex. All right.
Weird flex. I don't know, man. It's just true. Okay, check out my Wikipedia page.
Point, Max.
Thank you, Kalaris. Exactly what I was thinking. But yeah, so I'm really happy with Void, and I just hope they don't pull a Reject and do badly at the start of next year. But with that said, that is going to be the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And please do follow Pandemonium_, don't forget the _ news over on TikTok, Instagram, and here over on YouTube, because we've got a lot more content coming down the pipeline very, very soon. So see you then.